Shabbat Shalom. We are now in the parasha of called Ekev. If you are a Ashkenazi, you say Ekev, but it's really Ekev. And this comes from the root word, the shoresh, that means heel. Many times I have mentioned to you, the Hebrew language is not a cognitive language, it's totally the contrary. It is a picture language, it's a descriptive language, and talks through pictures and through forms. Sometimes those of us that we come from the West, from the Occident, we are limited sometimes to understand many things of the Torah because of the way our minds work. We have been trained to define everything, and sometimes that's what makes us even closer to be black and white. You know, I always say to people that in Judaism, biblical Judaism, we are in the gray zone. Never is totally black and never is totally white. It's the gray zone, you know, and we are looking to go and to find the way to the Creator. He is always there to show us through his different teachings and to, of course, to the principles that he gives us in the Torah. Interesting enough for me, this the last Yochanan and this portion Ekev are together. It's a portion together. Sometimes we divide it, but really they come together, hand by hand. And to this point, Moshe Rabbeinu is going to teach us about the mitzvot. Now, when you read mitzvot, you immediately think about all the commandments that the Creator has given to you. You know, if you are a religious Jew and you know the 613. Supposedly it's the 613 commandments that the Creator has given. That's how you understand it. But here is talking about something that I told you before, I shared with you before. It's especially about the 10 principles, the 10 commandments, if we want to call it in that way. Sometimes I don't like to call it the 10 commandments because I want to explain to you again something that all of you maybe have heard me before. The 10 principles I divided in 3 parts. The 3 first principles are called mitzvot, commandments. The second 2, that we call it the hinge between one and the other, is called the hukim, and these are the statutes. And finally, the last 5 are called the mishpatim, the ordinance or the judgments, or the relationship with our neighbors. The 3 first ones is specifically about our personal relationship with the Creator as individuals and as a community. You're going to see that in this portion, we have the first portion, the Shema is written in the third person, you know, singular. And then when you go to the Behayah, chapter 11, verses 13 and to the 21, you are going to read the Behayah, that is part of the continuation of the Shema, but is written in the third person plural. And here is going to give us an indication that these 2 portions are together. One is for the individual, and the second one is for the whole community. And at the end, they tell us to have the mesusot, or the mesusa, the parchment that we put in the corner of our houses, that to have in our sight. Inside this mesusa, we put a scroll, and the readings that according to the rabbis is the Shema, chapter 6, and then we put a chapter 11, 13 to the 21, and we put it together all rounded there in this case in the doors. But One thing is what I call a tradition. Another thing is to try to understand about what is the message of the Creator. We have these principles that are very important, and these two chapters, these two parashot, they are going to be specifically about the mitzvot. Specifically about the mitzvot. The next week we are going to start with the hukim, status, and then with the mishpatim, and here's how he developed. And also to give us in this idea, the 10 principles, or the 10 words that sometimes is translated, or the 10 things, or sometimes we understand the 10 commandments. It is the structure and is the whole thing about a relationship with the Creator. Everything is contained in these principles. No? And we need to see that in these 10 principles, everything is there. If you follow these 10 principles, you are really following the Creator and you are being obedient to Him. Everything is there. Now, applications are many in the Scripture. You know, for that reason I call it that these 10 principles are the constitution of Israel and for any believer that wants to be close to the Creator. How this works? In the mitzvot, the 3 first principles are totally in relationship about the Creator. He is a God of history. He existed, and He demands alliance to Himself only. He doesn't share that. And also that His presence, His name, everything is unique and is not for any misuse or abuse. Then He talks to the people, the second generation of Israel, that they are now confronting the possibility to enter in the promised land. Moshe Rabbeinu was the leader for these last 40 years. He feels a little bit put aside because he already has been told that he won't get in the promised land. There's something that all his life, his last 40 years, was trying to bring his people. At the beginning, in the second year of after getting out of Egypt, or the slavery of Egypt, they were just to the point in the border to get in the promised land, and the spies or the explorers, they went to see the land. They brought a bad narrative about what was happening in that promised land, and brought fear. And fear is something that he is going to talk again here in this parasha. We need to understand something that to me is important. When the Creator teaches, He teaches through pictures and figures and also experiences that our people has gone through. And He say, look at what they have done. Why He bring them back? In order that you do not repeat the same mistakes. Many times, I have told you, and remember my father's wise word. He said, son, we learn from our own mistakes, and it's very hard. But it's better to learn from the mistakes of others. It's less painful. Sometimes we do not understand this idea, but if we know that somebody has done something wrong, my question to you is, why do we need to repeat it? If we already know that won't work, or that's not right. But we as human beings, sometimes we are, and this is a word that is going to be repeated in this portion, especially for Israel. Keshev orech. Stiff neck. And this is going to tell us about how really we are in our own mind. The Creator gave us to all of us Behirah of She, free will. This free will was to exercise ourselves and our actions. And we were going to be really judged by what we do. No? The first thing that he is bringing back Moshe Rabbeinu to the people is, remember what happened to the last generation. And they forgot they went with other gods, and they worship other gods, even that they knew what I was doing through them. You know, the golden calf and many things that after we Pinchas and later on with the new generation, they always were in the process of going from one side to another side. And the loyalty to the Creator was kind of wishy-washy. You know, sometimes they did it, sometimes they didn't do it. Now, we need to remember something. It's the God who made a vow to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that to take care of his descendants. His word never changed. The Creator is always the same, before, today, and forever. He never changed. Who are the people who change? Who are the one that change? It's us. We are the one that we're constantly going from one side to the other. He is telling them, the people of Israel, be careful who do you put your loyalty, to whom you are going to follow. And then he's going to say to them about reminding them what God has done for them during all this time. And they are going to take and to possess a land, but it won't be easier for them. They will need to work on that. They need to fight for it. They need to conquer the land. Here comes a very special principle. You know, many times people think because I have faith, I can do whatever. You know, faith is not enough. You know, you need to work. You need to do. You need to act. You need to prepare. And the Creator is saying, everything, I am with you, but you need to do it. No, He doesn't make us dependent on Him. And this is also something that we need to analyze today. Because the idea here is we worship Him, we honor Him, but what do we do? Because we are trying to manipulate Him. He says here in His word that He won't be turned around because somebody's going to buy Him. You cannot buy God. Most of the religions trying to buy God, trying to manipulate God. They think that they can make God change His mind. You know, they can really do something for Him, and then He's going to feel obligated to the people to serve Him. He will serve the people because they are buying Him. You know, I bring offerings, I bring sacrifices, or whatever, you know, because I need to change His mind. I need to appease Him. And this is an idea that is not from the Torah. It's a pagan idea. And some of the religion that has been built in pacifying the Creator, we know that it is totally pagan. Because you cannot pacify the Creator. The only way that you can come to the Creator is to do it teshuvah. And that's a teaching of the Torah from the beginning to the end. Well, in this moment, what I first of all is telling them, please do not be afraid. Afraid of what? Afraid of the people that they are going to take care of. Remember that already the first generation were afraid. And because they were afraid, they lost the possibilities to go to the promised land. And they were for 38 more years around the wilderness. Then He reminded them What is going to happen if you show fear? Now, what is fear in itself? What are you afraid of? Most of the people, I imagine, that they are afraid of something happen to them, they lose their life, or an accident, or whatever. We look at that, we can transport ourselves for today. And what we are living today, right now, actually, with this pandemic situation all over the world. There is a hysterical fear all over the world. There are people that are so afraid that something happened to them, they are totally immobilized. They cannot do anything, and they are hysterical. Just not long ago, I went to a place, and one mother almost jumped over when the child supposedly touched a car, and she almost passed out, frantic, because her child could get the COVID like that. And I said to myself, one thing is to be careful, another thing is to be totally frantic, totally scared for everything. And the Creator is telling us, do not be afraid. I am with you. But when He said to you, don't be afraid, doesn't mean that do whatever you want to do. That's not the meaning. The meaning is, be careful. Be smart. Don't look for accidents. If you define the laws of what I call the physical laws, if you define the physical laws, something is going to happen to you. You define the laws of gravity, I can assure you that something can happen to you. You can think you can fly, you can jump from a building, and you don't have wings or engine with you, or helicopter or something is going to happen to you. It's obvious. The Creator is trying to teach us the basic understanding about what is right and what is wrong. And everything is based in whom you relate with. And in these two portions is talking about a relationship with the Creator. The first says, no, remember that, constantly reminding us, I am the one that took you out of Mizraim, out of Egypt. Why the Creator remind the people that already know where they're coming from, why He reminds them again the fact? You don't remember? I know that. What my father told me, I remember when I was still young, when we were a slave in Egypt. Why He's trying to tell me again the same thing? Because it's very easy for us to forget where we are coming from. Many of us that we are in this group, we are immigrants. We have come to this country, Canada, as immigrants. We have left our homes, wherever we come from. Many of us, we came here not because the sun is better or because there is more light here, because sometimes the days are darker than where we come from. Not because the weather is better, because where we come from, the weather sometimes is much better. Here is in winter is very hard. Why do we come to this part of the world? Because we want better life. We want better things for our children. No? And we are trying to be better. And suddenly what is happening, we come to this country, and many of us, we start evolving and growing, and we become well-to-do. And what happens when you start getting well-to-do? You start forgetting where you come from. And you forget, why did you come to this country? And you start getting comfort. And you start getting everything that you can imagine. And more comfort you get, more lazy you become in the social things, in the needs of others, and caring for others. And you become very selfish. What is good for me? This is exactly what the Creator was telling the people of Israel. Remember, when you are going to become affluent, when you become wealthy, don't forget me. And more we have, less we go back to the Creator. They are saying this, that only when you have a need, you remember the Creator. And that's what it is. You know, when you are in trouble, that's when you pray. When everything is okay, who cares about God? You know, it's when the situations are hard, that's when we finally remember to pray. You know, we are people who trying to use the Creator. We think we can manipulate Him. When only we remember Him when we need Him. When everything is going okay, we forget about. And this is why He's telling them, remember me when you are affluent, when you have everything, you have being able that your land, your people, everything is prosperous. And how do you need to remember me? What does the Lord require from us? He gives the idea what He is requiring from us. He wants for us to serve Him, to love Him, and to be with Him, and to help those ones that are less fortunate than us. The widow, the orphan, and the foreigner. Like I said to you, many of us, we are foreigners in this country, and we don't need to forget where we are coming from. But in general, the teaching that is giving us Moshe Rabbeinu is about who we really are. You know, we do not need to use the Creator for our benefit. That's when we lose the Creator. And sometimes people, they say, I want to serve God because in that way He can bless me. You know, how do you understand that? We become what I call it utilitarians. You know, and He said, love me with Hesed. What I call it is unconditional love. I don't love you because what you do for me. I love you because you are. You know, how many times we have fallen in the trap to like something because benefit us instead to do what is right. This week I was talking to two persons, and one of them said to me, I think most of the religions are good. He said to me, part of the problem is that they forget what the religions say. They has a lot of knowledge, but they don't put it in action. Moshe Rabbeinu start talking to them about what you can do, not what I can do for you. This is the change of the motivation of the Creator. Why? Because remember, children are depending on the parents until they become adults. And as adults, they need to depend on themselves. And usually, as adults, not only depend on themselves, but also they need to take care of their parents. But it's not any longer that I depend on my parents for everything. I need to be on my own. But I don't need to forget who gave me life and who brought me here. Israel has been, for these last 40 years, totally depending on the Creator. Finally, the water, the manna, and everything that they were receiving, the clothes that they were not deteriorating, the shoes that they were not falling apart, suddenly they realized that everything started falling apart, and they needed to take care of themselves. And they couldn't say, "Oh, God, help me." Now they needed to learn to depend on themselves. And this is why it's so important not to create a dependent mentality, but we need to become independent and to learn to do what is right. The principle of the Torah is to teach us about what is right and to discern with what is wrong. But it's not enforcing in you. It's you who needs to make the decision to do what is right, not what is wrong. What happened with Israel when they go to the new land and they become prosperous? Immediately, they want to be like the other nations. They need to imitate the other nations. They do not realize that they are unique. They are special. What is the fear of many of us in the environment that we live? A fear to be rejected by those ones who they think, "Oh, this is religious. Oh, this is a person who believes in God. Oh, this person is closed-minded, is spiritual retarded." Because he is so blinded, he's all don't do, and judging other people. How many times I have been accused that I am a chauvinist, that I put women down because I believe in the scriptures? How many times I have been called a bigot because I believe that certain sexual behaviors are wrong? You know? And I have been called narrow-minded. Only because you follow the moral laws or the moral statutes of the Torah. And the Torah very clearly says this is not good. And God never committed a mistake of creating something wrong. Then it's on us that is the responsibility to do what is right. Look at this. In chapter 10, in chapter 9, he say, I didn't choose you because you are righteous or you are good. Totally the contrary. Put Israel in the right place. Israel is not the divine country that is pure and holy and pure. Totally the contrary. Israel is Israel. Commit a lot of mistakes and do a lot of things wrong. The one that is faithful is the Creator, not Israel. But there are consequences when you get away from the Creator. You're going to suffer. And it's not that He punishes you, as many people want to put it. You punish yourself with your own behavior. Sooner or later, you are going to suffer the consequences of your own behavior. Let me say something more here.
Okay. Ahí está Mati.
There's something. Let me say something to you that is from this point. You know, I say that we looking for acceptance. We're looking for look good to other people. We sometimes we keep ourselves quiet because supposedly we do not want to bring attention on ourselves. But the truth of the matter is that we need to speak out for what is right. We cannot keep ourselves silent. We need to speak for what is right, even if it's not popular. Right now, one of the greatest problems that we are facing in all the world is that those who open their mouths is for bad, and the rest of the people keep themselves quiet. They call it the quiet majority. What is quiet majority? What is good? To be quiet. You need to speak out for what is right. The Creator tells Israel, don't follow the path of the other nations. Don't do what the other nations do. And what is the first thing that we're trying to do? We are imitators. We become imitators of the others. Because why? Because we want to be accepted by the others. We do not want to be labeled as narrow-minded, as bigots, like I mentioned to you before. We do not want to be labeled as people that cannot think for themselves, that we are fanatics. Then we try to accept whatever Rabbi say. You know, I have been in places, and let me tell you, I have been saddened, but people speaking so openly about certain things that are totally wrong. And most of the people, they laugh, and they make it, oh, it's so funny, and they don't dare to say what you are saying is wrong. They don't dare. They don't dare to talk for what is right. Because it's better to keep yourself your peace and you become a wishy-washy person. Because you are not there and you are not here. You are not anywhere. Israel was chosen to be light to the world. To be light to the world, what it means to be light? Everybody wants to see you. You cannot hide. You cannot run away from the calling. If you don't like it, renounce to your position. But at least be honest. Don't play the game. And don't try to be holier than thou. This is not what the Creator wants. He's teaching us about a relationship with Him and with others. And this is why the 10 principles are so important. The 3 first ones that are talking here, that only talks Moshe Rabbeinu, is about the relationship that we have with the Creator, that we cannot break that relationship. If we break that relationship, we substitute Him for something else, we already are out of His will. Let me ask you this question. It's a personal question, but it's a question. Have you ever, or have we ever, and I need to include myself in the question too, in order they don't think I'm holier than thou, have we ever betrayed the Creator by fear, shutting our mouths, because we don't want to be judged by others, what do we really believe? And doing that, we are betraying our Creator. It is not easy to be part of His people. It's not easy to be part of his calling. Because when you're part of his calling, you need to speak out, even if you don't want to. Doesn't mean that you are going to judge everybody, because the Creator has not called us to be judged. But the Creator has called us to make the thing for what is right. Let me read to you now chapter 10. Because in chapter 10, there is a very interesting teaching that sometimes we lose it because of theology instead of understanding the Torah. Okay? I'm going to start from verse chapter 10. Let me see. Okay. From chapter 10 verse 12. Thank you, Peggy. He said, and now, O Israel, what the Lord your God demands on you, only to fear the Lord your God. And I hope that you understand the word fear here. What it means is to have a reverence, to put him on the top, almost, not to be afraid of him, your God, to walk in all his ways. Okay, the walking. In rabbinical Judaism, they talk about they call it halacha, the walking. You know, it's and they talk the problem that the halacha in rabbinical Judaism means to follow the laws and the numerous things that the rabbi has invented. But here is talking about to follow his commandments. Him and worship. Okay, the word worship here, you can is not about worship. It's to serve him. La boda is to serve, to work for him. Okay, to serve him. Okay, your God with all your heart and with all your being. The word nefesh means your being. Okay, now, what do I mean heart? Because it's going to come back here. Heart and being. To keep the commandments of the Lord, okay? His statutes that we are going to see later on, the Hukotai. And I command you this day for your good. Behold, the Lord your God belongs to the heavens and heavens to the heavens unto the heavens of the earth, all that is on. That is the repetition of heaven, heaven. It means in Hebrew, it's a superlative. Okay, it's the greatest. Only your forefathers, the Lord desired to love them, and he chose their seed after them, you and other people all this day. I mean, we have been chosen. Now, this is the one that has caused so much misunderstanding because of theological understanding instead of looking at what he's saying. You shall circumcise, okay, the foreskin of your heart. Therefore, and be no more stiff-necked. Kechek orech. Okay. Here, what it means to circumcise your heart? Remember what in the Middle Eastern, in the Hebrew understanding, what is the heart? What is the heart? Is the seat of what? The heart is the seat of the will, the volition. It's the seat of doing that. Can you go back, patient, please? It is the seat of the volition. It is the seat of the actions. is the seed of starting doing things. This is the thing. And then, don't be anymore stiff neck. Don't be the kind of person that cannot think and cannot act for themselves. Not to be stubborn. Look what is right and do what is right. Now, what is the idea of the foreskin? It's the idea that is a covering. And you need to be exposed. Not hide yourself, but it needs to be exposed to see who you really are. Because your heart is the cumulus of your intentions, your actions, and everything else. For the Lord your God is the God of gods and the Lord of lords, the great, mighty, and awesome God, who will show no favor, nor will he take a bribe. Here, what he's saying to us is, you won't buy me. Because I know your heart. I know, because the thing that you are judged is through the kavanah, your intentions. And you cannot fool me. And many of us, we think we can fool God. We can act like a very religious and very pious. And from inside we are rotten. Yeshua talked about the religious people in this way. You know, about when he was talking to them about, they were more worried about the externals than they were worried what was coming out of their hearts. You know, they were worried how they were eating without washing their hands, that it is not in the Torah. They were more worried about their stipulations and their traditions than who they really were in their hearts. What the heart, the seat of their will, according to the Middle Eastern mentality. The heart is not for feelings. The heart is for thoughts and actions. And he said, don't worry what comes to your mouth, because that goes to the latrine. Worry about what comes out of your mouth. Don't worry what you put inside, but worry what comes out. This is, and you will not bribe me. I don't have a price. How many of us we think we can buy God? I'm going to do a good mitzvot, they say. I'm going to do some charity. Thinking that doing that, I'm going to buy God. You do good wills and you do good mitzvot, you do good charity only because you love the people. Not because what you can get from it. He executes the judgment of the orphans and widows, and he loves the strangers to give him bread and clothing. Look at how basic is our Creator about ourselves. You are very comfortable, you have everything. What about those who are not? Do you care about them? Do you really want to help? And here is a beautiful expression at the end. Like I said to you, you shall revere the Lord your God, and you will serve him and be close to him, and you will be able to live by his name. To understand what the precious words that are there, because we translate literally, we miss the point. The Creator doesn't want us to be slaves of anybody, not including of him. Totally the contrary. He has given us the freedom to be ourselves. Because through freedom, we can exercise our responsibility, and exercising our responsibility, we can do what is right. And finally, He is your praise, and He is your God, who did these great and awesome things for you, which your eyes have seen. Again, the God of history. Our God is not an illusion. Our God is not somebody that we invented. Our God is not a created God. Our God has been with us from the beginning. He is the one that created us. We didn't create Him. And here He is talking about you and I in a everyday relationship. I have asked sometimes many people, what do you do with all that you learn? You are a masterful in the Torah, in the scriptures. You know the Bible from the beginning to the end. Wonderful. Have you ever applied the principles in your life and the life of others? Have you ever, have you been in relationship with the Creator that you know that you have that relationship that help you to be abundant in your love for others? And what I mean to love others? Serving Him. It is not about Gucci feelings, oh, I am in love. No. That's not love. Love is a word of action, of doing, of participating. Love is not a word of feelings. It is not like the Western civilization. It's not Hollywood. And no, love is not even things evil. You know? Love has nothing to do with sex. That's very interesting how we have made, in English, you love ice cream. You love, oh, how loving, oh, how love. No. We have lost the meaning of the word love. Love means to identify, to be part of, and to serve. It's action, no words. Do you know where you're coming from? Do you know what is your background? Because everything that you are was given to you when you were born and you grew up. And then you had a special experience with the Creator. And the Creator took you out of Egypt. Think in that way. When you grew up, when you were born, in all the life that you were still in a house of being a slave. And when God delivered you, you get out of Egypt, but your Egypt follow you. And you needed little by little take away the Egypt that was still in you and cost you. Because even sometimes went against your own background, your own beliefs that were put in you when you were little. And you needed to change your way of thinking. And that even in your own Egypt, the people, your family that was still in their own Egypt, they didn't like it. Why You were telling them because you were not any longer part of that Egypt. And they would tell you, you are not any longer part of us. And you felt abandoned by your own. Because you didn't follow their ways. Because you knew better later on. And you were accused of betraying them. How many times I have seen people who has come out of different religions and finally they have discovered the real God, the presence of the Creator in their life. And because they discovered the real Creator, the true God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, they needed to renounce many of the things that they were before. They needed to change their mentality, the way of thinking, the way of doing. Their heart needed to be undone. They were not any longer like the place they used to come from. But it's always good to remember where we're coming from. Because in that way, the good things that I learned from my principles from where I'm coming, I keep it. And the bad things they learn from them, I try to get away from that. Are you clear where are you coming from? And are you clear where are you now? Think about that. The Creator wanted to tell Israel with the 3 first commandments. I am a God of history. I am a God that doesn't share my position with nobody. And you need to be reverent to me. I am not equal to you. Have you heard that saying? That say, when you are very close to somebody, help me, Peggy, that went out of my mind. Communality. Huh?
Intimate? What do you?
No, intimate. When you are too close to somebody, you lose respect for the
Oh,
person.
Familiarity breeds contempt.
yes, familiarity breeds contempt.
Repeat that again.
Familiarity breeds contempt.
Please repeat that again.
Familiarity breeds contempt.
There are many people that they say, oh, I believe God and I, we are one. And now I can do whatever I want to do. And we call it little God, little daddy, you know. And God say, the word fear there, say, be reverent. God is not equal with you, neither with me. The Creator is above all of us. Do not be confused. This is what this parasha is teaching us. Our hearts are still wrapped up with the things of the past. We need to undo it. We need to clean our heart. We need to start seeing for what it is. You know, when you wrap it up something, your vision becomes not clear. You need to clear up. And to clear up, you need to be honest with yourself. This is the relationship with the Creator. He already knows you. Now my question is, do you know Him? This is the step that all of us we need to give. Familiarity produces contempt. Our Creator is not equal to us. He's greater, but He loves us and He cares for us. Shabbat Shalom.